Alright, so I am no master at TradingView and I am no wizard at TA, but I just wanted to draw a bunch of lines on here and see what I could make out of it on the macro scale of Chainlink USD. And the only thing I can really see at the end of the day out of all this is that if we're not close to or at the bottom for Chainlink right now, I'd be very confused. Just looking at this chart from the very beginning, these blue vertical lines correlate with drops below 20 on the stock RSI. So you see a bottom here, here. There's been 7, 8, we're on our 8th drop below. And it matches up with our RSI here. And if it goes inside of this band, it's been pretty clear that we are looking for a move up. And after every single one of these blue markers we've seen moves up. A few of these have been pretty parabolic, and then other ones are more inside of a wedge. These, and people have probably drawn these before, and I may have seen them or not. I don't. People post stuff all the time, and I just am looking at what I came up with last night. But it's pretty clear that there's been at least 4 wedges, maybe more of this one is just a giant third one, more than anything, looking at it on a macro scale. But our largest one took place in 2018 during the bear market. And you can see in all these wedges, they all pretty much have the same type of movement. You get 2 touches of the bottom after the wedge has been formed, and 1 touch of the top usually before they break out of the wedge. This one here, you had 1 touch, 2 touch, and 1 touch at the top before breaking out. And then COVID happened. This is kind of an anomaly. This could probably get deleted, even though we did drop. This trend kind of just kept going up anyway. This one last year was a little different. I mean, this was technically in a Bitcoin bull market, so it did touch once, and it did have technically like 2 major bottoms, this one being more of a capitulation event, but it did break out and we saw another all-time high. And now we've been in this very long wedge. We've had our 2 touches now, and we've had our 1 touch at the top, and now we would be looking to break out of this in the next few months going into May. Our RSI right now is at the very lowest point that it's been ever since July, and then before that it was really just COVID and December of 2018 and the whole entire bear market before that when we played out this giant wedge. It's almost looking as if Link has already had its, this is where the top for the USD or Link Bitcoin, Link Ethereum hit, and ever since then we've been almost in a giant wedge of a bear market for Link, similar to what we saw here. This took almost a full year to play out, and so we could be looking at all the way until this May, right about here, before breaking out of it. It's just very interesting to see exactly how every time we've reached these levels there has been a rebound. Another thing I've noticed, these purple lines correlate kind of like the start of the wedge, and we've always broken down into them, used them as support, broken down, used another one as support, and you go off. This one, you break out of it, you reach it as resistance, you come back down to it, you break out. And this wedge we're in now is very similar to this wedge. We had a support line here from the beginning of this wedge. If you were to bring this out, or however, you break down, you touch the bottom, Now you're in a channel. You hit your top. You break down. You touch the bottom. Now we're hopefully in a channel here, and you break out. Um, I don't know. I just think this is, a lot of you guys have a lot of better indicators and stuff. This is just a very generic looking chart with a bunch of different lines. The other thing that it is very interesting is these downward slopes that we break out of on the RSI. We've only broken out of it twice, once here and once here. Each time we broke out of these lines, this was in April, May of 2019, we saw our first big parabolic move where you get to into the 90s on the RSI. And that was the start of the top of this next one. And it went down and then it broke out in late June of 2020. And we saw a move up. This was our $20. Got up into the 90s. And ever since June of 2020, August of 2020, we have been technically in a bear market here. Even though the price has moved up and it was basically dragged up with Bitcoin going on its run in the early part of 2021. That's why this chart may look more like this than over here. So what I'm looking for here is a turnaround. We're at the very, very low that it's been. Let's see this thing move back up. And somewhere over here, February to May, break out of this thing and get back up to the 90s. And that should, bring us well over $100. Let's get into a new blow off top somewhere here in 2022. And then if it wants to go into a giant bear market, fine. But I think Link it's primed right now. So we'll see what happens.